left wing. The centres, Beattie and Coyne. 5'8" is Steve Robinson today. Halfback, David New. And the forwards, Brad Mackay is the lock forward. Fullerton Smith and John Fafita in the second row. The front row, Shane Kelly, Trevor Bailey, Paul Osborne. The coach is Craig Young. Andy Courier arrived just this week from England as the national anthem will be played. Both teams in a huddle while the national anthem was played. There's Wally Fullerton Smith. He needs a big game today. His Queensland position in the second row is on the line. Those teams to be announced, the New South Wales team tomorrow night and the Queensland team on Monday night. The referee today, Greg McCallum. At Leichhardt Oval, St George have won 4 of the last 6 clashes between these two teams. Brad Mackay gets this game underway with the breeze, deep down to Gary Freeman. He has Gary Jack alongside him. And the St George defence moving down quickly. Paul Sirenen taking it up in the earlier results. The under-21s, it was a win to St George by 2 points. There's a flare-up in the background here.
Already.
And in reserve grade, Balmain came out in front. 2 tight games in the early ones today. Balmain 18, St George 15.
You have a look there, Wally Fullerton Smith being called out for a high tackle on Paul Sirenen. If we remember back in the corresponding game, Wally Fullerton Smith and Paul Sirenen, they clashed.
The tackle didn't appear to be all that high. Fullerton Smith just a little over the top of the shoulder. And the referee, McCallum, making sure there's going to be none of that right throughout the game. John Elias tries to burrow his way underneath the St George defence. Roach meets Fafita and also Osborne. A very important, in fact telling feature of St George's play this year has been the first 10 minutes of the game. If their defence is good, they're usually in for a good day. And Craig Young, the coach, will be looking for that early in the match. Balmain move it wide on the 5th tackle. Andy Courier first touch over the halfway line, but that is the last tackle and that's a handover. Balmain electing to move it wide on the last tackle. David New has a run from dummy half, quickly rounded up. Andy Courier makes a tackle and there's a both enthusiastic and probably ironic cheer from some of the Balmain fans. The points scored 4 by these teams, not all that much difference. St George in fact doing a little better in attack, but against, look at the difference there. Balmain's defence has been far tighter. Balmain have conceded 18 tries this season. St George have conceded 26 tries. That's the difference in defence. Of course, most of those games have been against different teams, as now we have the northern zone teams meeting the southern zone. New is trapped, but it wasn't the last tackle. This is it coming up. Trevor Bailey from dummy half gets the kick in. Going back is O'Brien, but the ball bounces into touch, and that's a handy pickup of 20 metres.
Already Andy Courier earned the great kick here. Finding touch, gaining 30 yards the easy way. Already Andy Courier's earned the nicknames of Milk Bottle, Johnny Peart.
It's a touch of deja vu too, Arthur, because last year when he played his first game with Balmain, it was against St George at Cogra Oval. He scored a nice try and he averaged 11 points a year, so he's been pretty handy for the Tigers.
And in that game last year at Cogra Oval, St George 24 defeated Balmain 14. And what an impact Courier did make that day, particularly in the second half.
And Warren, you are right. St George have to start well. They're a confidence team. If they start well, they generally go on with the show. So these early exchanges are very important.
Sirenen under a high tackle from Beattie. Roach takes them on. In comes the defence. Shane Kelly, number 10, and Paul Osborne, the two front rowers. Shane Kelly promoted for this match after coming back in reserve grade last week following a broken thumb. McNeil gets it back inside. Freeman carries it on. Can't get away from Walford. And also Mark Coyne in there making the tackle. Elias with the boot. Away from Potter, but he gets to it well. Good run here from Potter into the open spaces. New has a dash from dummy half, can't get too far. In fact, that was Ron Williams on the far side having a run. Ron Williams in on the wing for St George today. Osborne. The ball's been lost. It's a Balmain ball. Courier picks it up. No one really realised that the ball was loose from either side except for Courier. Hardwick finally tackled. Midway between the quarter and halfway in St George territory. Maguire. That's a solid tackle coming in from Robinson with the feeder. John Elias. Not making much headway. In fact, they've gone back a couple of metres in the last couple of tackles. Roach has Sirinen inside, goes himself. The penalty has been called against St George. Wally Fullerton-Smith has been put in the sin bin for 10 minutes for obstructing the runner.
We have a look at the replay. The replay will come up shortly. Wally Fullerton-Smith takes Paul Sirinen out without the ball. Could have been a bit stiff here, but you have a look at Sirinen going through. Roach selling the dummy. Another high tackle. He's certainly in for some treatment today. Sirinen.
Yes, they seem to have targeted Paul Sirinen. The tackle really probably would have been okay, except that he went in high.
Yes, he didn't have the ball.
Well, he didn't get it, but I guess the tackler was half committed to going into Sirinen. But here's another penalty to Balmain against Trevor Bailey interfering in the tackle. 3-0 the penalties, and this one is kickable. Andy Courier coming up to take the shot at goal from a handy position. Well, Arthur, why do you think Paul Sirenen's the man that they're targeting?
Well, obviously, the clashes already have been pretty tight on the forward. For St George to have a chance today, they must hold Balmain up front. And already they've singled out Paul Sirenen for special treatment. But also, if you have a look, Steve Roach has been put on his backside a few times. So the message from Craig Young is put these big fellas down on the deck.
The top point scorers for Balmain so far this season have been Tim Brasher and Ian McCann. But Andy Courier's out there today for McCann. And last year, Courier scored 146 points in 16 games with the Tigers. Courier taking plenty of time. A few deep breaths to relax himself. In he comes. It swings back through. And first points on the board to Balmain. They lead 2-0. After 7 minutes of play.
Already the chant from the crowd was good on your milk bottles. When Laurie Nichols there was carrying the bucket around for the Nyngan flood appeal.
Yes, a big cheerio to all the people in Nyngan. We hope that everyone's getting back on their feet after the floods. Likewise in Charleville in Queensland. But Laurie Nichols has spent a lot of time out Nyngan way. Plenty of friends out there, and he wishes them all the best. Mackay down to Maguire, who gives it to Freeman. They go wide across the face of the goalpost, out to Brasher. Interesting tactics there from Balmain to try and move it back towards the centre of the field. Now they come out wide. Roach slips a good ball to Jack. Grant to the 22.
We noticed early that Balmain think there are quite a few break numbers on the edge of the ruck.
They spin it towards the middle again. Neal cuts back. Courier. White legs glowing.
Yeah, Arthur, I think St George have compressed their defence a little to concentrate on the forwards, and you know, they've got some blokes out there with real good awareness like Roach and Elias, and they're exploiting down the edges of the field at the moment.
Maguire takes it up. Roach gets a good ball onto Hardwick. Quick hands onto Brasher. That's good football from Balmain. Quick hands. It's the 5th tackle. They're 5 metres short of halfway. Elias tries to get away from Beattie. Flicks it out the back. Brilliant work from Elias after being trapped. And good take by Potter, who had to come forward to that boot put downfield by Gary Jack. The errors already counting against St George.
3 of those are penalties.
And a few missed tackles as well. St George did well to very nearly trap Elias on the 5th tackle, and there was good understanding between Elias and Jack. Jack standing behind was able to get the kick away. Osborne takes them on. Craig Young, such an experienced prop forward, no doubt has told Paul Osborne plenty of the tricks of the trade. New spins. He has Mackay, the lock forward, running off him. The 5th tackle. New puts the little left footer over the top. It is a good one in the end. I thought it was going out on the full, but it bounced just inside the touchline and gains 20 metres.
It's a very deft kick, a left footer from David Newey, just landing inside the touch.
David New, former rugby union player, played with the Randwick and Manly clubs, also represented New South Wales. Won the Rothmans Medal of Rugby Union, Sydney Rugby Union. Freeman feeds, and it's a Balmain ball. Neil looking to link up with Gary Jack, but held on. John Elias meets a good low tackle from Fafita. Also Shane Kelly. Maguire makes the break through the first line of defence, but the second one scoops him up, and it's Osborne. Roach looking for Jack, spins away from him. Elias changes direction. Nowhere to go. Mark Coyne in front of him. Mark Coyne, Queensland State of Origin reserve for the first match. And there's a good kick from Courier. Low and flat and hard. Plenty of power behind that kick, driving it upfield and over the touchline.
Great kick from the dummy half area here by Andy Courier. He's not only the goal kicker, but he's a good kicker in general play all.
Courier played so well for Balmain for most of last year, but had a disappointing grand final. There was criticism of his defence, and it was a little bit like Graham Langland's in the white boots. I guess the last memory for 89 wasn't a very pleasant one for Andy Courier, but he deserves to be remembered for much more than that.
He gave them great service last year, apart from, as I said before, apart from his goal kicking, he scored some great tries.
And last year particularly added a real injection of pace to the Balmain backline, but this year Balmain aren't quite strapped for pace out wide. Long passes, St George get the ball inside to Potter. Trying to open up the space on the inside for the fullback. Osborne cuts across the ruck, pushes away from Neil. Dummies to Beattie, the defence is solid. Paul Sirinen makes the big hit. Bailey stepping away from dummy half, but the penalty has gone against Balmain. The marker moving away, not facing up directly in front of the tackle player.
Big Steve Roach and Michael Beattie having a confrontation there in back play.
Yeah, and after Roachy has been playing too wide from a couple of rucks so far in this half. It looks to be that he's trying to exploit some of those gaps down the short side.
Metres gained after 12 minutes of play. All Balmain. Look at the difference there. 235 versus 95 metres gained. New gets it to Fafita. He's well taken by Elias, Ben Elias around his ankles, and Elias has been hurt. New gets it to Osborne, slips it to Kelly. But Sirinen rounds him up. Ben Elias is holding his left shoulder. He's back in the line, but in some pain. Brad Mackay steps straight into John Elias. Ben Elias still holding that left shoulder. Steve Robinson goes to the line. Decides not to kick. Can't really dummy to anyone, and it's the 5th tackle. 35 metres out. Trevor Bailey puts it straight across field. High, but across field. Potter goes for it. Comes back to Bailey, but the ball has gone forward, and that'll be a handover. Quickly played. Jack calls for it on the blind side. Comes to Beattie. Ron Williams had left his wing, but Jack wasn't able to get the pass away. John Elias heads towards centre field. Here comes Steve Roach, the big fellas. In fact, it goes to Maguire. New is around his ankles, Osborne over the top. Also Fafita in there. 5 metres short of halfway. Freeman goes himself, Still going. Hardwick is with him. Stumbles towards the halfway line. Balmain leading 2-0. Roach curves back towards the centre. John Elias, Ben Elias, Maguire. Asher looming up. Outside is Courier. Great hand. Back inside Grant. But well read by Mark Moyne. And they're bustling him over the touchline. The referee hadn't called hell. That tackle went on for quite a while. But he did call hell. And worked the end by the 10 metres out. New gives it to Kelly. That pass was close to forward. Kelly was on the burst. Almost overran it. Just 9 metres out. Robinson. Osborne gets the pass to Mackay. Back inside his corner. That's a good try. He can get it down. The referee having a close look, but he's going to award the try. Desperate tackle from Ben Elias. Couldn't prevent the St George try. Good work in by St George. They've been moving the ball in close to the ruck. Osborne it is, takes it up. Beautiful ball to Brad Mackay. He cuts through, slips it inside to Coyne, backing up beautifully. Nothing Ben Elias can really do, but he does his best. Does he get the ball down? Yes, underneath Elias's legs.
St George to go well today. Paul Osborne must have a good game. You have a look here. Beautiful ball skills from the front rower. Brad Mackay bagging up in the hole, and also Coyne getting the last pass. Great try to St George.
And Ricky Walford, the third highest point scorer in the competition, will attempt the conversion. Just 10 metres wide of the uprights. In he comes, and the flags are up. Good kick from Walford, very firm off the toe of the boot, and St George leads 6-2.
Elias will foot forward.
Good left foot step it is. Freeman, long passes for Neil, the runaround. Maguire back to Freeman for the second time. Brasher in space, has plenty of men out wide. The pass is wide of O'Brien, and he does well to come away from the touchline. Good work, Steve O'Brien, and it's the final tackle. Can the Saints hold out? Freeman pops it over the top. This is a race for Freeman. Will he make it? Did he get it down before he hit the dead ball line? The referee is going to award the try. Great work, Gary Freeman.
This will be interesting. I'd like to see this on replay.
A great thinking from Freeman to take the opportunity on the last tackle. Solo effort, he pops it over the top. Beautifully judged kick, but does he get the ball down before he skids over the line?
Great decision, I think.
I think we'll give it to him.
Have a look here at the last tackle. Straight over the top. Chip, the race for the ball. We have a look here. Slow it down. Yes, I think so. Just in by an inch.
Gary Freeman going head first for the camera. Out very wide, just a metre in from touch. Taking plenty of time around the corner. Plenty of length in this kick. That's a great kick from Courier. Right between the sticks, and Balmain hit the front. 8 points to 6 with another chance here. Desperately looking for this try. Osborne calls for it. Long ball out for Walford. Grant, can he hold on to him? He does. 5 metres out.
Osborne!
Mackay at dummy half. Osborne. You can hear the Balmain defence calling his name against the Walford. And it's a try. A try to Ricky Walford. A miracle pass here from Osborne. And St George have hit the front 10 points to 8. Well, I thought that Osborne had been tackled.
You have a look here. Osborne takes it up, charges the line. Surin, which is a good defensive player. He slips the ball out the back there. I would have been even proud of that ball. Walford, a great try.
That was great skill from Osborne. He appeared to be totally wrapped up. Walford had stayed on his wing, and there was nothing they can do. Ricky Walford has become a prolific point scorer. That's his 8th try of the season. This is a very difficult conversion attempt, but Andy Courier put one over from a similar position. In comes Walford. Hits it well, but it's waved away. A couple of decoy runners. Freeman, Jack, Neil, Brasher, to Courier. Steps back in. Good cover defence coming across from Robinson and Williams. Balmain just a few metres out. Long ball. Brasher wasn't really expecting it, but he has support. Elias sends it out to Hardwick. Throws the dummy. Still going, Kevin Hardwick. Good run. side was James Grant, but he went away from him, made inroads. They wanted wide on this side of the ball. Speed goes in the going shot. Great pass from Brasher. Brasher scores. A miracle pass this time from Steve Roach. These front row forwards are pulling out great passes today. Brasher has been hurt in scoring the try, and Balmain lead 12 points to 10. Tim Brasher down.
As a result of sideline to sideline passing on the last tackle here, blocker throws a desperation out the back door. Brasher on hand to pick it up. Too strong for the cover defence. A good try to Balmain.
Well, the big blocker says anything Paul Osborne can do, I can do. This is a magnificent pass from Roach. Look at the skills of the man, flicking it out the back. He knew that Brasher was there. Mark Coyne tries to make the tackle, but Brasher over for the try.
Beautiful wide pass here by Benny Elias. Clears the rucks a bit. Just a great pass block. Take your hat off.
They call Brasher the kid. Scored 9 tries in 16 games in first grade last year, where he really started to appear on the scene. Courier should have no trouble with this. Right in front and straight between the posts. Balmain increased their lead. They lead by 14 points to 10. There's a hole on the edge of the Balmain ruck. It goes to Linane, steps back in. Hardwick had managed to fill the hole.
6 more as well.
They come back the other way, switching direction. And it goes from Robinson to Beattie. Beattie's on the line. Did he get it now? Yes, it's a try. It's a third try to Mick Beattie. What a strong run it was. He really hit that ball. Robinson had switched direction, and Beattie, the St George captain, came flying onto that ball. Robinson comes across the ruck, gets the pass away. The split was there. Through the tackle of O'Brien. He couldn't hold him, and that ball just manages to be grounded.
We have a look here. Robinson goes back the opposite side. A great run by Michael Beattie here, but to break the tackle of O'Brien. Might be something wrong with Surin there. He didn't seem to make a play it, so he could be feeling the effects of that sore shoulder.
Now Ricky Walton, an important kick. Can he put St George in front? He's drifted it to the left. Stabbing it across the face, so the scores are locked at 14-all. It's a fifth tackle now. Where is Elias? Also keep an eye on Gary Freeman at dummy half. Brasher is wandering across as a decoy in front of Elias. Freeman goes himself. He's knocked out to put the kick in, and the penalty will go to Balmain right in front of the post. I think the offender was Trevor Bailey.
Well, it's an interesting situation here. We have a look. He scoots out from the dummy half area. Osborne leaves early to try to get to the field goal. Yes, the arm came out from Trevor Bailey there, is it?
And also Shane Kelly coming in.
Yes, Shane Kelly.
Secondly.
I think he could have got him for the arm coming out from Shane Kelly, from Trevor Bailey.
So Andy Courier with the chance to put Balmain in the lead. Just to the left of the upright. Has kicked 3 from 3. One of them was difficult, 2 of them pretty easy. This one right in front. Chips it through. The Tigers lead by 16 points to 14. We've got 5.5 minutes remaining. It's not over yet.
Back over the fence immediately.
Osborne gets it back to Bailey, who tries to duck away from Freeman. Balmain leading 16 to 14. That should be the final nail in the coffin. St George's handling let them down in the first half, particularly, and that mistake should just about allow Balmain to wrap it up.
St George have really beat themselves. John said it before. They've just committed to really just
full-time
dug their own grave, haven't they?
Yes, mistakes from St George. Too many penalties have allowed the Balmain machine to roll home. Balmain have won the match, defeating St George 16-14.